Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of When, and get this, it's When the Shift Hits the Sand this week. We're going to be talking about a little bit of an overview tonight of what Linda and I want to present to you over the course of the next 4 weeks. We coach a lot of people, and most of them are entrepreneurs. So we thought what we would do is dedicate some time from the people going from the corporate world of the 9 to 5 and then moving and transitioning into being an entrepreneur. And I'm going to tell you something from my perspective. You know, not everybody's cut out to be an entrepreneur. And there is a lot of adjustment when it comes to making that transition. And let's look at this from one perspective. It's from the job. You know, the job is you qualify yourself for a job so that, you know, you get the education, you learn the skills, you qualify yourself to do a specific thing. And you get paid to do that specific thing, and you get rewarded for doing that specific thing well. And you graduate through the ranks, and you can at some point become the CEO, CFO, whatever it happens to be, manager. And that's how the reward and how you value yourself within a job. And that's what we strive for when we're working in a job. We might start off in the mailroom and work our way right up to the top. Now, for me, in where I work and what I do, there's really no glass ceiling. I don't get paid less than a male or anybody else in the career that I chose. I have chosen something that what I do, I contract myself. So whatever I do, I get paid for. And I put the dollar figure on my value. And for most of my life, that's what I've done. Although I did start way back in the day when I first got out of school articling and for my law degree and stuff like that, working within the corporate environment. But it wasn't for me. But I was always a kid that marched to her own drummer. I never quite fit in anywhere, nor did I feel comfortable. So when I started contracting myself out and looking at my list of capabilities, skills, and what I could offer the world, it was different. I went in and said, I will do this for this amount of dollars, but you don't have any claim on me. So that was easy for me. But for most people, because this is a structured environment, you have a list of things that you need to do, the tasks that you need to complete every day, and you complete them and you get rewarded for it. When you step away from that structure, there's no other structure, right? There's nothing like you don't get up in the morning and there's a cubicle set up for you and it's got all the things you need for being an entrepreneur, and everything that you need is inside your head already and you're ready to go. And Linda, I know you're going to jump in here too, because this is the learning curve that everybody stumbles on when they're first transitioning from that 9 to 5, even if they're a corporate executive, to being an entrepreneur and working on your own. It's the number one, it's the mindset, and we're going to talk a lot about that over the next 4 weeks. But it's also this structure of what this environment looks like, and how you actually have to build that structure for yourself. So you're going to have the skills that allows you to do that. Now, Lynn and I have both had incredible mentors in our lives. I think we're so fortunate because we put ourselves out there. There's nothing we won't do. If we need to know something, we're just going to simply put ourselves out there and ask the universe to provide, and it does. And I know a lot of people think that we're too, mystical and out there and new agey and all of those things. But I'm telling you, my friends, the proof is in the pudding. We're pretty happy with our lives and what it has brought to us. So, you can't argue with that. But Linda, what's your take on this? Because you actually, you go back and forth because right now you contract yourself out. Perhaps even more than I do because I work more on my own now. So what is the mentality that you need to go from here to there and back again? And let's get these guys some ground rules here because they really need it if they're going to start this, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not easy. It's really interesting, and that you brought up even people who have been CEOs in companies, and now they're stepping out and trying to be an entrepreneur for themselves, and it's a whole new world. And I think that one of the biggest transition items that we all need to think about is that accountability item. Because even in a CEO role or a manager role, or either some form of leadership, or even if you're working yourself through the ranks and you decide that you want to manage yourself, you wake up that day that you're now on your own, and you realize that all of a sudden the only person that you're accountable to is yourself. And if you had been using being accountable to the structure of a large corporation, or the structure of a department, or the structure of a time clock, I mean, you've been using that as a crutch. And now all of a sudden that crutch isn't there. And it's really interesting to me, and yes, I do step on both sides, and even that in and of itself takes some major discipline on my part to build not only the structure around my own business as an entrepreneur, but then to respect and work within the walls or the structure of the corporate environment when I'm working in that environment, because they're different. And neither in either case, I can't just sit back and be complacent about it. But I can remember back when I started doing some entrepreneurial things for myself, some I guess self-employment items, and it's almost as if I felt like I was pacing the floor at first, because I was thinking, okay, what should I do next? Well, what should I do now? And the reason for that, Mark, and I'll confess it, was I didn't sit down at first and map out a plan. Now, I didn't at first. I had some mental goals, and I thought I knew where I was going because I had some skill sets, and I was leaning on those skill sets to move me forward and move my business forward. But I realized very quickly that I didn't have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, Mark, then you don't know where to go. And I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do first and second and third. And the funny thing about that is that I've spent so many years in the corporate world helping physicians build their practice, and I'm able to help them. Part of what I did was tell them, okay, well, this is what you do first, second, third, and fourth. So at that point, I was able to coach them on what they needed to do. But when it came to me, at first, I forgot to do the very first step, map out the plan, and then I can look at it and say, okay, well, this is what I need to do first and second and third. But then we as entrepreneurs need to do that every day. You know, make a list. Okay, these are the things that I need to accomplish today that will move me and my business forward to the level that I want it to be. And I think that's a key component that most people miss.
I agree. But do you also think this, Linda, that, you know, you hear it, I mean, you see it, hear it, I mean, we're everywhere that you look, especially if you are looking to, you know, make the move into either online marketing or, you know, starting a business of any kind. Do you think that people, well, actually, you know what, I'm gonna preface this because there is a difference. I think people who start a brick and mortar business look at this as more of a business. But I believe people that are online marketers hear the word freedom too many times, and this 4-hour work week, and you know this, you know, tomorrow you're going to have $1 million. And I think that it's so harmful to them, and because these are the people that we end up, I mean, they end up in our coaching classes the most, because they're the ones struggling the most. I don't have that many brick and mortar people. Like, they need a little motivation and stuff like that, and some of our, you know, budgeting and that we provide them. But it's the people that are online marketing that I find the most difficult, to transition, because they hear this. Well, you see the picture. We're on the beach, but man, we earned that beach. We didn't. We earned it. We worked for it.
We did. Too many people go into, especially online entrepreneurship, thinking it's going to be easy, thinking that they don't have to work as hard as maybe they worked in their 9-to-5 job. And you have to work harder.
Yeah, you work harder.
In a 9-to-5 job, as you mentioned in the very beginning, you've got a certain set of tasks, if you will, that you perform on a daily basis. This is what you're expected to do and accomplish, and if you accomplish a little bit more, kudos to you. Pats on the back. You're moving up the ladder. But when you're say doing your business online, you have to do not only this, I guess, certain set of tasks, but you have to do all of the other tasks, maybe tasks that you depended on other people in your corporate environment to handle. All of a sudden, you're doing all of the jobs. And where you had a marketing department before in your company, now you're doing the marketing. You're the one coming up with the ideas. You're the one reaching out, making the phone calls, sending the emails, making the contacts to build your business. It doesn't just fall in your lap. No matter what pie-in-the-sky story somebody's telling you about, I started this business and 3 months later I'm a multimillionaire. It doesn't work that way. Unless they had this huge list because they've actually been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years, and so they had this huge list of people to send information out to who they've built relationships with. And I think that's a key point too, Mark, is it's all about building relationships and keeping those relationships and being true to yourself and being true to those people that you're building these relationships with. But definitely want everybody, all of the listeners of our program, to realize, go into this eyes wide open, that being an entrepreneur, whether it's brick and mortar or even whether it's online, takes risk and it takes work. Yes, we do talk a lot about mindset, and mindset is incredibly important. And if you go back and you research the majority of the successful people throughout time, you're going to find that they worked on their own mindset. They had a certain set of beliefs that they latched onto, and that helped them to be successful. I want to touch on something. Before the show, I was looking up the definition of entrepreneur because I thought that it might be very helpful for us. And there's two here that I ran across. But both of these that I'm going to read have pretty much the same theme, and I want everybody to get this clear. One of them is from Merriam-Webster, and it says, an entrepreneur is one who organizes, manages, and assumes the risk of a business or enterprise. And then dictionary.com says that an entrepreneur is a person who organizes and manages any enterprise, especially a business, usually with considerable initiative and risk. Now, two key factors here is the word risk.
Absolutely.
When you step out to be an entrepreneur, Mark, the risk is all on your shoulders. When you're working a corporate job, you have risk because you have to perform. But the financial risk, the huge success risk, is on the company. It's not on your shoulders.
Yeah, it's not on your shoulders. And we're talking risk in another vein of this too. We're talking, the monetary value, the risk that you're taking with your reputation and your name, because some people might think, you're foolish. Everybody thinks that's a pyramid scheme out there. And I'm going to be honest with you, there's less pyramid schemes than there are people that just simply make a lot of mistakes and blame it on that. Because if you look at things, I mean, I can probably take pretty near any opportunity that's out there that can be available to me online and analyze it and think whether or not, I mean, unless it's gifting or something like that, most of them do have legitimate products or services to offer people. And, you can, if you know what you're doing, you can pretty much walk into most of them and make some good money from it. But that's me that's been doing this for, 7 years. And I was back where most of you are right now today, is wondering, well, what should I do? How should I do this? What kind of money is it going to take me? And like you, Linda, like, well, what do people do? Like, I know what I do when I go out and do this particular job. I get on a plane, I go say my piece on stage, I get back and I leave, and, I go out and sell a product or a service, and I come home, right? I get paid, that's it. I buy my groceries. But I was the same way. I'm going, well, you do kind of get into a little bit of a vacation mode because there's no demands on your time, right? You don't have to be somewhere at a specific time, right? You get up, and some people don't even get out of their pajamas. But I think I did maybe 2 weeks like that, and I thought, okay, whoa. You're going to lose your shorts if you don't kind of sit up here and figure out what you're doing and figure it out fast. So I would get up, have my shower at the same time I would normally get up. In fact, actually earlier after a while, but get up, have a shower, get dressed, and go to my office, whether it was 4 feet or 4,000. It didn't matter. I made myself get up and have tasks to do, just like you said, Linda. I made a plan. I stuck to the plan. And then I started seeing positive results. Now, they were small at first. Like the first time I made $10, I mean, I was doing the happy dance all over the place because I worked my butt off for that $10. And I invested quite a bit of money for that $10. So it was a precious $10. I'll tell you that. So it deserved the celebration that it got. But what happened at that moment was that changed everything for me. I learned from that one act, though it took me quite a while to get there, I learned from that one act that I could be a successful entrepreneur from that one act.
Exactly, and you hit it on the head. Number one, you made a structure around what you wanted to do. You made a structure around your business. But number two, and I think should top the list, is you celebrated a success. You celebrated a win. Because that adds energy to the next win and the next win. And you also, instead of saying, oh, this is only $10, but I want $10,000 this week, you didn't say that. You said, woohoo, look how far I've come. I've invested all this time, this money, this effort, and hey, I have a reward. I have $10.
Yeah, you know
if
what,
I can get
Linda?
$10, I can get more.
Yeah, you know what, Linda? You just actually, I think that we might have stepped around this or passed by it maybe too quickly for people.
I knew you would come back to it. Go for it.
Yeah, because celebrating that win, I could have done exactly that. I could have said, this is all I get. This is all I get for all of that hard work, and I could have quit. It's not worth it. I did all of this, and I got $10. Why don't I just quit now while I'm ahead or behind? Obviously, because time, money, everything was invested. But I think that's the difference too, Linda, between people that start a brick and mortar business. They know the investment. Like they sit down and go, okay, my rent's going to cost this, my inventory is going to cost this. They have their, investment portfolio ready to analyze this and know going into it, they're probably not going to see a dime out of that business for, 2, maybe 3 years, if not longer. Right? That's just a matter of fact. But how come when we sit here in our pajamas doing something, we think that we should make money instantly and it should be a whole truckload full? And you're right, we do not celebrate the little successes. And I think as we move forward through this series that we're going to build for you guys, this is just kind of an overview, and we're going to delve deeper into each and every one of these as we go forward, because we want you to start you on a 4-week course that I am going to leave my job, and now I'm going to do this. And we want you to start off on the right foot, because guess what? We can let you fail, and then you can come back for our coaching and spend a whole lot more money, or you can come here free every Monday night and learn how to do it right.
Exactly.
Now, you might think that we're working against ourselves here, but I'm going to tell you this. It really does hurt our hearts when we get the people who are struggling so much. And you know what? It affects everything. It's affecting their relationships. It's affecting how they feel about themselves. It's affecting everything around them when they finally get to us and say, you know, I'm so far down, I don't even know where up is anymore. And that's where we made this decision, is that, okay, we could keep doing this day in, day out, and because there's so many of you out there. I mean, you're in a big crowd of people, my friends. You're not there out there by yourself. Because I'm going to tell you something. I was reading something here, Linda, the other day. This company has, I don't know, 700,000 people in it, or whatever they're saying now. And of that, only maybe 6 of them had become millionaires. And I know all of them. So, I mean, I know that they, you know, like you talked about, they had the big list and everything. And I'm looking at their leaderboards and all this stuff, and, you know, there's not many people on it. So what I do know is all of those other people, besides these 6, 7, or 10 maybe, are making little to no money at all. They're living on a hope and a dream. They're believing, like, oh, just pay me one more month, and next month maybe you'll learn something that you can actually make money with. And these are the people that we get on our doorstep every single week because someone else has damaged them. Someone else has said, no, just keep giving me more money, buy the next product, do the next thing, and that's when you're going to make money. No, that's when they're making money, because they're convincing you to do something that I know in your heart you know isn't working. And actually, right after our show at the top of the next hour, we've got a really great NLP session where you can, you know what, if you got into that, just let Linda or I know that you want to get in, because it's a free session tonight. But here's the thing. When you know how people are talking to you and how they are manipulating you by all those words they say, you're going to become a lot smarter. You're going to recognize it, and you're going to stop doing those things. So this kind of knowledge, it's free, right? It's free. We're free.
Right.
The NLP session is free. It's free. We're here out of the generosity. We have nothing to sell, nothing to sell. If you want us to coach us, yeah, we're going to be fair with you. Because I'll tell you something, we coach a lot of people for $0 only because they have no money left. And we just need to get them back out there and going again. So we invest in you because we can. We're successful in our own worlds where we're giving back, not to maybe, you know, I give to the Cross Cancer. I mean, that's my thing, and the Heart and Stroke Foundation. I know Linda's got breast cancer. We give a lot of money away to our charities. Well, some of you have become it because we just couldn't take it anymore.
Yes, ma'am. So true, Mark. And, you know, I'm overly excited about this series that we're going to do for everyone. It just makes my heart sing for us to do this because you're right. There's so much misinformation out there, and I do see it on a weekly basis of people who bought into this story, and now, you know, they went in with enthusiasm, and then when they started hitting those stumbling blocks, then it started falling apart, and it wasn't what they thought it would be, and they're having to work harder than they thought that they would have to work, and you know, when they start asking questions, they're told, no, you have to buy this product in order to get the answer to that question, and you know, it's disappointing. But instead of sitting around and and feeling sorry for those people and getting mad at the people who were taking advantage of them, Mark, you and I decided, well, let's take the positive track here and let's do something about it. Let's put our skills together so that we can really teach a group of people who want to learn how to be an entrepreneur.
Exactly, and I'm looking forward to it as well. I know we're coming down at the bottom half of our half an hour that we have dedicated this. A couple of things I want to leave you with, and as always, I'll leave Linda with the last word. But I want you to do something between now and when we start our series. You make a list of what's important to you, about your goal and what you want to do, and all the reasons why you want it. And then I want you to put them into the order of importance to you, okay? Because this is going to help us determine where you should start first, and it's also going to help you understand where your importance lies. And I'm going to tell you something. It may not be being an entrepreneur or quitting your job today, but it could be allowing you to have a path to follow so that next year or 6 months from now or even 3 months from now, you can comfortably shift from the rat race to the sandbox. Okay, and we're going to do that. Daydream a little bit and imagine things. Make that goal a big one, because here's the other point. The bigger the dream, the more motivation you're going to have to attaining it. But we have to have the steps in place, and that's what we're going to teach you in this series. What are those steps? What should I do first? So make sure that you've got, we're going to talk about the environment you need. We're going to be talking about the mindset you need. We're going to be talking about what you should be choosing and not choosing on your skill level. We've got a lot of things that we want to talk about. But do that. Do that first. This is your place. Dream a little bit. Savor that dream. Feel it and see what it tastes like, right? That juicy dream that you have. And then come back next week because we're going to take that first step. So, Linda, last words, always yours, my friend.
Oh, thank you, Mark. And we're, even though you're in Canada and I'm in Florida, we are certainly connected. Because I want to fall back on something that one of my great mentors, Bob Proctor, taught me, and he shared it because one of his mentors, Earl Nightingale, shared with him. We're talking about entrepreneurship, and it leads us into talking about success. And Earl Nightingale's definition of success is a beautiful one. He says that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And you were hitting it on the head when you were giving the assignment of for everyone to sit down, make up that list, and dream big. What is it you truly want to accomplish, and why? Because if you fall in love with this idea that you have, really, really in love with it emotionally, then that is your ideal, and that's a worthy ideal. And I like the fact that Earl Nightingale says it's the progressive realization. It means it takes steps. You don't just think of it one day and then the next day it's there. It's a progression, and it's not a start and stop and start and stop. It's a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So, again, to repeat the assignment, think about what is worthy of you, the magnificent creation that you are. What is a truly worthy ideal of you and for you? And make it big. Don't just dream big.
Too cool. Well, my friends, from here in Canada, it's a stormy, stormy night here tonight. But I still love my world because it's really cool watching the storms come through. And from here in Canada, good night, everyone.
And from here in Florida, good night.